can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it. I can't take it anymore.
All right. Hello, everybody. Hello there. This is Turning Left. I am Jason Allen. I'm here with always Sir Richard.
Hey, great to be here once again.
Oh, I tell you, man, I'm fired up today. This whole DACA thing, this whole Trump thing, this whole crap thing, even talking about music copyrights has now got me going, right? Holy cow. Hello, everybody. Welcome again. This is your liberal Lollapalooza, your progressive Shangri-La. Hello. So we are back here again. I took a week off last week. I had a dentist appointment. Didn't feel like coming on and doing my best impression of Mushmouth from Fat Albert. You know, hooba, heba, howba, hooba. So we're here today. Hello, everybody. Yeah, we're going to talk all things DACA here. We expected it over the weekend. We knew it was coming, but still people were in shock when it hit, as, you know, as they should and would be. Hopefully, we may get a phone call here in a few minutes to talk with somebody about DACA, but if not, we will roll on.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty to roll over with.
Right, so let's talk about DACA here, okay? First of all, a lot of people say DACA, you know, the DACA, but what does it stand for?
Boy, you know, a lot of people probably don't know, since it's an acronym.
That's right. Well, it is, it's DACA, and it's Deferred Action for Child Arrivals. That's what it is. It's Dreamers. In other words, folks, if you were a child and your parents brought you over the border as a child, what the Obama administration basically said was, hey, listen, we are not going to penalize you for being a minor and being pulled over the border as long as you're getting an education and, you know, you're not breaking the law. Hey, it's all good. We're going to be okay.
And it worked, actually.
And it did work. It worked. I mean, young children grew up to be first responders in the Harvey fiasco.
Right. They went to Stanford. They went all over the place because they embraced America for what it's best at.
Right. And let me ask you a question, Sir Richard, right off the bat here. when did we stop becoming the melting pot? When did we stop becoming, the e pluribus unum?
Let's see. Wasn't that November of 2016?
Right. I think it was on the 8th to be exact.
Exactly.
And we have always, in America, we've always had this, deep, sometimes not so deep in the background of our American character. We've had a streak of, anti-immigrant.
Oh, right? My God, the Italians, the Germans, the Irish, the list goes on.
Right.
Because all the folks who came over here earlier think that they're not immigrants when, unless you're a Native American,
right,
you are an immigrant.
Right, and it's just every so often it seems to rear its very
racist head
again, and we seem to be at another of those forks in the road, of the national discussion of who we are and what we stand for. So when we talk about DACA here, folks, what I want to do is I don't want to start spitting a lot of abstract things at you, like acronyms and all stuff, and come at it from a cold analysis of a textbook or a history book or whatever.
No, it's people.
It's people, and I think sometimes that gets lost in the shuffle, and it really hit home to me yesterday. Of course, I'm sitting around there in Allen Manor, with the remote in one hand, and the dog on the lap, and hanging out watching news. And they had a rally going on. I believe it was in Los Angeles, and it was run by CASA.
Right.
And this was literally going on as Trump was announcing the end, or I should say Jeff Beauregard Sessions being the front man on this one, that, Doc had been rescinded. And I sat there, and there's a young lady, a 23-year-old young lady, standing next to the speaker, and as he's announcing that Trump literally just has rescinded, she breaks down and starts crying.
Well, for good reason.
For good reason.
This is her home.
This is her home. I sat there and I watched that, and it should appeal to everybody on that basic human level.
Yeah, but what Trump did is he did what Americans have done for many years, whether it was basically dehumanizing people, mm-hmm. and taking them out of the realm of human being and just making them whatever they are. They did it to black people. They did it to women. Yeah. It's a cursed part of American history, and it should have died years ago. But because you have somebody up there stoking the flames of racism and bigotry and sexism, well, of course, all those folks who always thought that and had to hide don't have to hide anymore.
Right. So I'm sitting there watching it, and they said who the young lady's name is, and so I went on there. She was a part of CASA too, so I just did a little bio check, right? She came to the country when she was 7 years old. Okay, highly educated woman. Is as and I know Trumpers, you're gonna freak out when I say this, but I don't really give a anymore. Yeah, and she is just as American as me, as Sir Richard, as Doc, anyone walking the fruited plain right now. She's as American as all of us.
Yeah, and the weird part is any economist would tell you that immigrants increase the economy. They increase diversity.
Yeah.
They end up doing things that Americans won't do. I mean, they are a plus to the American society. They are not a negative. They are a huge plus.
Totally agree. And she's lived here all her life. Came here when she's 7. She grew up here. She works here. She was educated here. And literally now, with the stroke of a pen, she is now being told that, no, you are not one of us, and we are going to send you back to a place that you don't remember, a place that you don't have, for all intents and purposes, you don't have that much deep ties to, because if you've lived in the country pretty much your whole life, the mother country is more of a
foreign country,
an abstraction, right?
Right.
And I sat there and I thought about that, and I let that sink in. I let it marinate for a while, and I really believe that we as a society and we as a country have done a great service when we have taken out the human element. Well, and I'm not going to pick on the guys in flyover country. I know we do our show from Portland, Oregon. Oh, you left-winger coastal guys. But I'm not going to pick on but you have to understand that just because you live in Iowa, or just because you live in Indiana, or just because you live in Ohio, doesn't make those people any less human. They're not some person you see on a screen. I have nothing to do with that. Those people need to go back home.
They are home.
They are home.
As one Indian Native American chief put it, they're willing to allow the 240 million undocumented immigrants to stay in their country.
Right. So on a human basic level, how does this affect the 800,000, a little bit, the rough estimates are maybe just a skosh higher than 800,000 people who now have been told that, no, you are no longer welcome here, and you're going to have to get yourself ready to be let out of the country.
It's terrorism.
Expand, please. I like this thought.
Terrorism is where you basically try to impact other people with your philosophy, whether it's you want to kill all the fill in the blank, you want to destroy systems that have been in place for hundreds of years because you don't like them. Terrorists work on only one level, and that's fear. And so this is a terrorist act because they are going to claim 800,000 or more people to become scared.
Right. And scared they are. I mean, think about this, folks. What I want you to think about just for a moment. Let's all have a group meditation on this real quick. And think about what those people are feeling this moment, all right? The fear that they are no longer welcome here, and the fear that they are going to get potentially kicked out of a country that is just as much theirs as any other person standing, crawling, sleeping, or whatever. Think about that for a while. 800,000 people, and you realize that you have left basically by just saying you need to go home and you've left the whole issue of humanity behind, because you no longer
it's the old who's next. This is what Hitler pulled.
Exactly. I was sitting there thinking about it last night, and I said, "What's next?" Because folks, let's think also about this for a moment. Let's stick a pin in this. And the fact is, these people made themselves supremely vulnerable by signing up for the DACA and by becoming a dreamer, because now the government, who has told you that you need to go home,
knows where you are.
They now know what your name is, they know where you are, they know where you graduated from, they know where you work, they have all that information on you, and now you are depending on the government under Trump not to weaponize this and use it to hunt these people down. Listen to that. Hunt these people down. How isn't that?
That's right. That's dehumanizing.
And it's just I don't know.
My attitude is like this. For all the folks out there who are, want to throw everybody out and all this stuff, what would happen if when your forebears came to Ellis Island, they say, "You're a what? Nah, we aren't going to let you in."
Yeah, no Irish welcome here, right?
Exactly, and it actually happened.
It did. So all eyes now are turned to Congress, right? Trump yesterday got old Jefferson Beauregard Sessions to come out there and be the fall guy for this. And he he kind of put it on Congress, right?
He said he's going to defer all of this for 6 months to let Congress do the job that they should have done before. Well, good luck.
Right. So with a GOP Congress, what sort of, the question now becomes, what sort of tough uphill battle is there going to be to pass legislation, or if this is even possible?
I don't think it's possible because you have a lot of real hardliners in the Republican Party that will say no to everything. And it's got to pass both houses in Congress. It's got to pass the House. It's got to pass the Senate. Mm-hmm. The tougher sled is probably in the Senate, where you've got Ted, the fat idiot Cruz, who will say no to everything as long as he gets something out of it.
Right. It seems like such a no-brainer, too. I mean, because literally as soon as this was made, Ryan, McConnell, the whole leadership, everyone comes on and says, I wish you wouldn't do this, yada, yada.
Yeah, but they're spineless idiots.
Right. And this could pass. If they actually believed in what they said, they could pass this no problem. Even with the Freedom Coalition guys, every Democrat would be on board with this. All you need in the House, Mr. Ryan, if you are listening, all you need in the House is at least 35 of your Republican buddies to jump on board. You could do this. It would be close. It would be a squeaker, but you could do it. Okay? And if you're in the House, I've got to believe that the Jeff Flakes of the world, the John McCains of the world are going to rally behind this, maybe a little bit to stick it to Trump, but also because optics. It looks good. No one wants to go back to their home district, their home state, and be told by the people who will protest this that, hey, you didn't vote for this. You're just not a really nice guy.
Or
gal.
Or they could be worse and call them what they are, scumbags.
Right. So you're right. I don't see a lot of hope and light on this one.
They've got so much. I mean, we're going to get to it later about what the Congress couldn't get done because they have done zip. They haven't done anything.
Congress can't even agree to tie their own shoes, let alone try to pass any sort of meaningful legislation.
Right. They have to have somebody else come along and wipe their asses.
Right. And when did the House and the Senate, when did they become so powerless? When something comes down this, it's so bad, we can't, what are we going to do?
Because if you haven't governed for a dozen or more years, almost a decade, there's no institutional memory on how to get it done. Plus, each side has antagonized the other so that they have no reason to even come together on a bill that, would be important and actually help people. For example, when Ted Cruz fought funding FEMA's Hurricane Sandy, and now those guys are all whining and running, saying, we got to have the money. And you can believe that the folks from New York and all those places that were actually devastated by it, New Jersey, Delaware, are probably going to sit back there and go, you know what? America is a big country, and we survived it because we had to do it all ourselves. Guess what? You can do it all yourselves.
Right, and it degenerates into that sort of
them and us
petty sort of. I'm going to use I think I can get past. I think I get past the censors on this one. You screwed us on the Sandy. We're going to screw you on the Harvey.
Absolutely.
And now
Irma is coming, and it's going to hit Florida, where that Nazi governor
Rick Scott.
Right, is telling people, this is be prepared and da 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 da, but. Yeah, the one thing I think is going to be funny is if Mar-a-Lago gets wiped out.
Yeah, won't that be poetic justice?
I think it'd be wonderful poetic justice.
Yeah. So Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, if you're sitting around and you're watching the show here, and I know you are.
In your underwear.
Right. Maybe with a glass of Ovaltine. We don't know. We're not going to judge, or will we? But no, you're sitting there and you say to yourself, and you get on on the Twitter and on the social media, and you give the little sound bites. What can we do? We're helpless. Far be it from us not to offer solutions on the show, right?
Hey, the Republicans have always been whiners. What do you want?
That's right. But listen, Sir Richard and I, we believe in solutions, right? We're not going
Absolutely.
We're not going to let you hang. We're going to give you the solutions. Do this. So Paul, Mitch, and the rest of y'all, take a second, get your pen, get your paper, take some notes. It's cool.
Scratch your ass.
We'll wait here for a minute. Doc, you want to play the Jeopardy theme? And so here's what you can do, Paul. Here's what you can do, Mitch. All right, here's what you can do. Very easy, all right? Some fun steps that you can do to make people believe that you have a heart. Number one, all you gotta do is give a damn at the most basic level. Really mean it. Just don't stare into a camera with that little smirk or that half frown that they seem to do all the time. And, this is a sad moment for America. Our country, we got to come together. We got to unite. We've got to reach this common accord that we can do this and we can help it. Which you actually said nothing.
Right.
You said a paragraph of nothing.
Yes, it's typical. Pablum.
So what you do there, Mitch, and what you do there, Paul? What you got to do is remember, you're in charge. You got the power. Okay, you do. Really, you do. It's that easy. So what you do is you call your whip on the phone and you say, hey, whip, we're going to do this. And why are we going to do this? Because we don't even have to think that hard. It's just the right thing to do. So what I want you to do is you know better what, whip? You and me, we're going to go to every person there in the house, every person, all 435 of them. Mm-hmm. We're going to sit down and I'm going to tell you in no excuse languages, we're doing this. We're doing this, and you're going to vote for it. You know why? Because if you don't, you're going to look like a real
putz.
Thank you. I was going to say something else, but we'll go with putz. And that's what you do, Mitch McConnell, because you seem to get all fired up and rallied about ripping people's health care. How about marching your nappy butt to all the different offices in the Senate building and saying, hey, I'm the Senate Majority Leader. We're going to do this for our people because it needs to be done. So what you're going to do is you're going to vote for it. And you know what? I'm not Karnak. I'm not Doc Karnak. I can't see things in the future, but I'm willing to bet that it'd be pretty, maybe not unanimous, but I believe a lot of people will fall in line. No one wants to look like a giant diaper bag over...
Except for Ted Cruz.
Except for Ted Cruz. When there was the basket of deplorables at the very bottom of that basket, you found Ted.
That's right. He was stinking up the rest of the face.
He was, and he continues to do that in Texas.
Actually, if they looked at it strictly in economic terms, these people are going to be contributing tax dollars to the U.S. Treasury, to state and local treasuries. On top of that, do you want to piss off 800,000 people to always vote the other party?
Right. And I think of you guys seen the movie Ghostbusters, the first one?
Oh, yes.
Where they're in the mayor's office, and they got this controversial, do you let the Ghostbusters in? Do you let them do what they do? I don't know. And Bill Murray looks at Len and says, Lenny, think of all the voters.
Exactly.
You're going to look like a hero. Those 800,000 people that have just been saved, they're going to vote. And they're going to, chances are they're going to be pretty thankful that you did them the service, that you came to them in their hour of need. Be a politician if you must, but on just stark, bare political terms, this is a win-win.
Yes, except
You know?
for practical purposes, because it's the GOP and they control both houses. This is Grimm's fairy tale.
Right. And if you're part of those real deep 25 to 30% guys that drink the magic Kool-Aid and Trump is your savior and this is how you truly believe and you're never going to change, this is probably not for you. But guess what? You're only 25, 30%. Go sit in the frickin' corner, okay? Playtime is over. We have some serious things. I mean, for gosh sakes, go into the gorge. It's burning down. Go into outside of L.A. It's burning down. Go down to Houston. You're still underwater. Look off the coast of Florida and watch Irma coming your way. There's a lot of bad stuff going on right now. And you sitting talking about how we need to get these people leaving the country because, you know, they're dreamers and we don't want them. You're on the wrong side of history. Sit down and shut up. Okay?
It's basically they're going to lose the Civil War all over again.
Exactly. Yes, I understand a lot of people got fooled by Don the Con and they voted for him and you think that you won just a great victory and that means now that you can go on torchlit ceremonies and tell people how you real feel. Guess what? You're still outnumbered. Shut up. No one is interested in what you think and what you believe. Go back to the 20th century. Hell, go back to the 19th century and stay there. Okay, if you're not gonna, what is that, lead, follow, or get out of the way?
Right.
See, I'm a little angry now, okay? This whole DACA thing has gotten to me because it's just another instance of the country that has just basically decided to go off the happy trail of progress, turn to the right, and butt its head against a brick wall.
Right, and the other issue is in less than 30 years, white people are going to be a minority in the United States.
Yeah.
And so if you want to have the rest of the country that isn't a minority pissed at you, don't do anything. And you'll get voted out of the country.
You mean there's such a thing as long-term memory that people may look back this 50, 60,
when you've been
70
hurt,
years?
oh yes, when you've been wronged or hurt, you tend to have a very long-term memory. Now, if somebody lies to you to your face, and you know that lasts for 30 seconds, but when your mother is deported, you'll always remember that.
Exactly.
Or when they cut the health care and your grandmother who needed help and couldn't afford it dies. Mm-hmm. Those kind of things scar into your memory things that you will never forget. And this is one of those times.
Right. And I realize it's an emotional issue for a lot of people. So you know what we're going to do right now? We are going to, let's do something we very rarely do. Let's throw open the phone lines. For just a few minutes. Let's see if we can actually get some people calling. Hey, if you want to yell at me and you want to curse at me, bring it on. Let's do it. That's fine. You can curse at me. You haven't said anything my wife hasn't told me over and over again. So go for it. If you want to talk about what it means to you and you got your 2 cents you want to throw in, go ahead. 503-395-5040. Once again, 503-395-5040. We are here until the top of the hour. And then after that, Sir Richard gets back into a Superman cape and
flies off into the sunset.
Helps make the world better for democracy.
Somebody's got to do it.
That's right. It's a dirty job, and someone's got to do it. So, folks, if you're not Mitch McConnell and you're not Paul Ryan, and you say to yourself, well, geez, I feel powerless. What can I do? There's a whole lot you can do.
Oh, you can call, you can write, you can fax your congresspeople and your senators. And actually, faxes are the best way to do it. If you go on the internet, you can find out how to fax for free. So there's something you can do. There's always something you can do. So if you decide that you're not going to do something, you have no right to bitch and moan about anything, because the power was actually in your hands.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's got a voice, and if you choose not to use your voice, ask yourself who is going to do that instead and step into the vacuum, because that's how, something tells me that's how we got into this little jam in the first place, right? So that's what you can do, folks. Call your representatives. If there's like a DACA protest going on, show up for a few minutes. Don't get violent and do any weird stuff. Just lend your voice. Why don't you go to one of these advocates, the ACLU, or how about CASA or millenio.org? Why don't you call them on the phone, or why don't you get a hold of them by email or whatever? Reach out and say, hey, what can I do? Listen, this is wrong. As a fellow American, I feel that I feel incumbent that I at least do something. Well, call them up, ask them what you can do. Because chances are they probably got a laundry list a mile long saying, sure, we could use some help. And do it to it. It's that easy, folks. It really, truly is. A lot of people complicate things. It's not that easy. It is that easy. Get off your couch and dial the phone. That's it. Right?
Makes sense to me.
Right. So, rant over on that. We could go on for at least a few more hours on this, and believe me, I feel like I wanna. But we only got so many minutes, and with this sort of charged emotional stuff, I have got to know who the Putz of the Week is. I need. Give me some light, Sir Richard. Give me some.
I'll give you a lightsaber. How's that?
Give me some political mana that I can graspingly hold. Yeah, give me a political lightsaber, oh Jedi, that I can desperately grasp onto.
Well, this week's World's Greatest Putz of the Year award goes to Jeff Sessions. And he gets it because he's a Nazi, racist, bigot, and terrorist. He's going to go down in history just like Adolf Hitler did. One of the two most reviled figures and traitors in American history. And he'll be standing right next to Don the Con anyway. So the pair of them will look like Mutt and Jeff.
Heckle and Jekyll?
Heckle and Jekyll, yes.
Yeah.
The guy has absolutely nothing but a ultra-right religious, racist, white supremacist dogma stuck in his head. He has had it for years. He's never going to give it up. He doesn't really believe in the law other than how he can manipulate it to make it better for his own priorities, not the American people's.
Amen. The funny thing about it, and I literally laughed out loud, and I'm sure the dog that was laying on my lap thought I was, just a little bit touched in the head. But I'm sitting there, and old Jeff Beauregard Sessions is in front of the camera, and he's talking about how we are a nation of law and order, and how people need to respect this law and really believe in the system, and we need to do this. And I thought, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions, did you suddenly forget that your guy pardoned a PIO that totally screwed law and order, took it right? He jumped in, broke every protocol, every guardrail that's set up when you supposedly pardon somebody, and you just kind of kicked law and order in the nuts and decided that you're going to pardon a
convicted felon.
And so I thought it was hilarious, and not in the ha-ha slapstick, Three Stooges kind of way, although maybe a little bit on that, but more of the ha-ha kind of dark humor of a guy talking about law and order when he perjures himself in front of Congress and the Senate.
Darth Vader
believes in all sorts of racist stuff, and then supports a president who
is a racist,
pardons somebody who is just a despicable and yes, deplorable human being. And it's amazing. Let me ask you this question. I know we're going far off in left field.
That's all right.
Screw it. Is there a death of truth? Is truth dead? Does truth mean literally nothing anymore?
The only bastion of truth left is the fake news. Yeah. CNN, OPB, PBS, the New York Times, the Washington Post, Sacramento Bee. I mean, there's dozens and dozens of papers who have come out to say all this is wrong. Mm-hmm. They have reviled Trump and his hench people. That's the last bastion of where truth is. And that's why in the First Amendment, news organizations, and in that case newspapers at the time, were actually put into the First Amendment to safeguard their ability to speak the truth.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with that, and I'm glad that is that infrastructure and those guardrails up there to help kind of give us guidance, at least from a constitutional, legalistic standpoint. But I got to be honest with you, I am deeply troubled about the death of truth when people listen to just total, utter ignorance and don't even question it.
Well, listen, that's been going on in America for a long time. 2 chickens in every pot,
right,
was the slogan.
40 acres and a mule.
Right. Politicians for years, which is probably one of the reasons why people don't trust government anymore, have always promised stuff they knew they could not deliver, but it sounded so good and got people so excited that, hey, I'll vote for this yokel. Right,
yeah. But we can have all the guardrails and we can have all the infrastructure and we can have all that, but if we have become literally the living embodiment of that movie Idiocracy, I don't know where to begin off that, because people seem to not question anything anymore. And I know people want to blame the left. Yeah, the left this, the left said that, whatever. On the right, folks, it is worse. When you got a character like Donald Trump who can own, literally how else? Fiction would be hard-pressed to write a character in a screenplay that is that buffoonish.
Right, and all he does is lie, because he's lied all his life. He has no compunction. The truth to him is just something to be stepped on.
Right, but if you hear that sort of stuff, and even if you don't say anything or silence, and you kind of agree with it by proxy, right? Aren't you just as bad because you've helped propagate that sort of
absolutely
crap? Right?
Absolutely, I see it on Facebook quite often. About a variety of issues that people have. Basically, this is what I believe, and I've closed my mind to any reality. Kind of like Rick Scott has said, well, you can't say climate change, you're forbidden to say this. So basically, he's stepping on free speech.
Right.
Nobody has come up to say you can't do that, because nobody has made an issue out of it. Right. That's the kind of stuff that destroys truth.
You're right. And when we literally stomp on science because we don't like what it says, it doesn't make it any the less true. It's just that, well, we don't like it, so it can't be true. We don't want it to be true.
Well, yeah, I think people are have selective truth with science. Like, oh my God, there's going to be an eclipse, and right. How did they know there was going to be an eclipse? Oh, let me guess. A little astronomy goes a long way.
That's right. So somebody cue the Thomas Dolby song "Blinded by Science," right?
Yes, exactly.
Science. And it's funny now for you faith-based people out there who have deeply held religious convictions and beliefs. I'm gonna throw a little teaser at you. I want you to think about this for a minute, okay? Cogitate on it. And if there is no such thing as climate change, if there is no such thing as global warming, right? And now we see all the forest fires, we see the multiple hurricanes, and just the strength of these hurricanes and all the wacky stuff that Mother Nature is throwing in our way. You faith-based people, right? I'm going to throw this in there, and 99% of the people will say, but those one people there that need some education. Think about this now. If you have your deeply held beliefs and you believe it, what if it's true? Right? What if there is global warming, right? And what if God is sending you His holy righteousness in the forms of storms? Don't you love that? We could do a tent revival right now.
Oh yeah, could we ever?
So there's no such thing as global warming. Al Gore's an idiot. There's no such thing as climate change.
Well, it's not really global warming. It's massive, rapid climate change, which is really what it is.
Yeah, and so you're literally talking about how you don't believe in this science as your house is getting flooded with water. You're talking about there's no such thing as climate change as a hurricane is barreling down on you. This stuff isn't real. As the forests burn on the edge of your property, and still science isn't real. At that point.
Ignorance is dangerous.
I don't know if we can fix that level of stupid.
Probably not, but, perhaps those folks who come to the realization far too late that, oops, maybe I was wrong, but now it's too late to do anything about it.
Right. All the times, all those people, countless people were screaming in the wilderness about we need to do something, and you sat and you mocked and you called them names, and it turns out, maybe there's something to that.
My attitude is, if that's the case, if you don't believe in science, my suggestion is go to faith healers when you have any medical problem, because if you don't believe in science, you have to give up practically all of medicine.
Right.
Go to a faith healer, have him cure whatever you've got, or her cure whatever you've got, and never darken a doctor, hospital's, or clinic's doorway. See how long you last.
Right. We were talking before the show started, and we brought up faith healers, and we brought up the old televangelists, and we came to we came to the conclusion that we're in the wrong gig. We missed the boat on this. We should have been flying around in our Lear jets, trying to heal people, and
or big yachts like Osteen, or
Osteen. Oh my gosh.
Right. We missed the money gig.
Right.
We went for truth, which doesn't always generate money.
No. Truth is poor.
Yes, but it stands on a golden pedestal.
Let's hope so.
I think so.
Thank you. You're giving me faith, Sir Richard. You're bolstering me up here. When you're gonna get like a 3 a.m. phone call, Sir Richard, I'm at a low point. Help me. Everything is gonna be all right. Truth is on a golden pedestal. I feel much better. Thank you. So Jefferson Beauregard Sessions, to recap, you are the Putz of the Week, and your certificate and flaming bag of poo should arrive at you. I'm kidding. There's no flaming bag of poo. Chill out. So you are now the Putz of the Week. Sir Richard, what else you got in the bag of tricks here?
Well, I was just looking about how Don the Con has tongue-tied himself into dealing with North Korea, which now has miniaturized a nuke that can actually be fitted to a missile. Mm-hmm. And so there's no... You can't play chicken with nuclear missiles. And Trump thought he could play chicken and get him to back down. Well, the guy is at the top of a regime that only can stand there as long as he has terrorized all his own people and got them to believe whatever he wants them to believe. The dear leader, for example. Mm-hmm. So he just says, fine, we'll just lob a few nukes over... We'll lob a nuke at Guam. We'll invade and destroy Seoul. All sorts of, Japan. We'll take out Tokyo. Yeah. And you can't push him because he always will have a response. Whereas Don the Con doesn't have any qualms about, going to war because, well, he got draft deferred out of Vietnam. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he's a coward to begin with.
If this was a tent revival, this is the part where I jump up. Amen! Yeah. We've got to skip ahead now. We got to get to the cause of the week. Folks, the cause of the week this week is Madonna Center. No, not the singer, not like a virgin. Madonna Center. Their main purpose is to identify and to provide for the basic needs of disadvantaged teens who are with child, either pregnant or have a child up to age of 3 years old. And also they don't have easy access to or not eligible for necessary support and resources which are typically afforded to adult parents living within the local community. They are provided food, clothing, furniture, household goods, toiletries, rental and utilities assistance, up to 102 teen parents and 105 children. The Madonna Center, they do good work at such a basic grassroots level. I can't talk good things enough about them. If you would like to get behind this, and I know you do, the Madonna Center, they could sure use your help. You could do this right now by going to www.madonnacenter.org. Once again, www.madonnacenter.org. Okay, and if you feel like you want to call them on the phone, you can do so. 503-653-1595. 503-653-1595. Or if you're an old-fashioned guy like I am, you can even write them a letter. P.O. Box 22368, Milwaukee, Oregon 97269. Once again, P.O. Box 22368, Milwaukee, Oregon 97269. You can do that, get involved at the very basic human level. That is something you can get behind. I highly recommend it. Madonna Center.
Sounds great to me.
There you go. Not only that, but we do have another book endorsement this week. It is I gotta say epic because it gets down and dirty in it about the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Right.
It was a national and even an international bestseller for a while. It's called Shattered. It's by Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnas. And so the description is this. It was never supposed to be this close. And of course, she was supposed to win. How Hillary Clinton lost the 2006 election to Donald Trump is the riveting story of a sure thing gone off the rails and had it. Cue Ozzy Osbourne Crazy Train, right? For every Comey revelation or hindsight acknowledgement about the electorate, no explanation of defeat can begin with anything other than the core problem of Hillary's campaign, the candidate herself.
And no message.
And no message. Through a deep access to insiders who were in the know, to the top and bottom of the campaign, political writers Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnas have reconstructed the key decisions and unseized opportunities, the well-intentioned misfires, and the hidden thorns that turned a winnable contest into a devastating loss. And it does. It is not a pro-Hillary book. It's not even a anti-Hillary book.
It's just history.
These are two reporters that gets deep down into the marrow of the nuts and bolts of the autopsy of why Hillary Clinton lost the 2006 election. If you are a Hillary supporter, you at times may get mad, but I got to ask you, don't get mad because of what they say. Ask yourself if it's true or not. You only live and you only learn if you accept some hard truths that maybe you're not comfortable with. It's how else you grow, right? So if you are a Hillary supporter, read it because it's accurate. They do a good job of double, triple, even quadrupling their sources to make sure it really happened the way that they said it happened. And if you are an anti-Hillary person, it is a kind of a read into a what not to do campaign, and it really gives you an inside look of what a modern 2016 presidential election looks like, from the people that show up to the offices in Brooklyn at her headquarters, just the day-to-day grind, and what you don't see on TV or what you don't hear about on radio, and it really is a kind of an eye-opening book. And I know some people said, "Wow, you're going to do a Hillary book. You must mean the new book that she has coming out."
Nah.
No, I'm not going to cover that. It's her words. I'm not anti-Hillary. I'm not pro-Hillary. But if you want to listen to her memoirs, go for it. Glean what you will from it. I probably will not be endorsing the book. So, and I think Sir Richard, I think you're on board with that, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
You know, basically, it was her election to lose, and that's what she did.
Yeah, there's just so much that could be said on the subject, and again, it's pretty much a what not to do. So if you want to read Shattered by Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnas, you can do so. It's just as easy. Get on Amazon, wherever fine bookstore you choose to go to, or heck, go to the library and check it out. Read it. I think you, at the very least, will learn something about what politics at the basic level, how it's run, and what not to do. But how everything works. You know, the cogs and the wheels go round and around. So there you go. There's that. Sir Richard, do you have any more? Do you have any last minute things?
Well,
your 2 cents worth. Your
my 2 cents worth is that I don't see Congress doing much of anything. The DACA thing will get stalled mostly by internecine fighting within the Republican Party. Passing the budget reconciliation. They'll probably just kick it down the road by saying, "Oh, yeah, we'll temporarily fund the government until next March." But in general, not much is going to get done because for the budget, they have to have the Democrats on board, which means they're going to have to give away something, and they're not going to want to give away anything.
No, at a time, regardless of ideology, regardless of a person's politics, in the end, for legislation, to a large degree, it's about leverage.
It's and compromise. Politics is a game for that deals only in compromise. Mm-hmm. If you want my help, I'll need help with something else.
That's right.
Which is how it works, and it's actually worked for 200 plus years up until now.
That's right. So I think next week, let's delve into next week. We didn't get to it this week, obviously, because of the DACA stuff going on. I want to talk about that. The upcoming fall congressional agenda versus progressive values. Where do we fit into all that? All the stuff that's going to be coming down the pipeline, and how do we feel about it?
And the reality of it happening.
Right, exactly. That's a huge part of it. So I think, folks, we're going to do that next week. But one last thing before we go. One last thing. I'm just going to fire it off the top of my brain box here at you. One last thing. That is, if you are a Trumper and you believe that rescinding DACA, the deferred, I'm going to blow this.
It doesn't matter.
DACA, deferred childhood arrivals. Deferred, okay, anyway. If you are against it, if you think that this was a right decision to rescind it, if you support Trump and you support Sessions and you support the whole agenda, what's going on, I want you to do a favor for me. Very easy. What I want you to do, very simply, is declare it publicly. Declare it publicly. Get on social media, get on whatever, and declare publicly that you believe this way. Not only you believe this way, why don't you tell me why you believe it, okay? Because I'm really interested in the pathology of why you believe these people shouldn't be allowed to be in our country. And I say our, capital O-U-R. I want you to do that because the time for just supporting something and voting for Trump and hiding behind a curtain, those days are over. Stand, for gosh sakes, if this is what you believe, and you believe it to be true, and you believe that this is a hardcore value that's within you, stand up, have the cojones to tell people why you believe this way, okay? But I'm going to give you a little tone and a little word of warning. Be prepared to have logic thrown at you. Be prepared to have truth thrown at you. Be prepared to stand up for your convictions, because maybe within that we can start changing some hearts and some minds, and start defeating ignorance and start defeating hate right there at the root cause. So have some cojones. Stand up and tell me and tell the world why you believe that these people who came at such an early age don't get a share in the American dream. Will you do that for me? And I'll listen to every word that you have to say, and then I'll challenge you on it. So next week, we'll talk about more of those challenges right here on Turning Left. Have a great week, everybody. We will see you again. If you want to get a hold of us, you can always email us at turningleftradio@gmail.com. If you want to get involved with our Facebook page, get on the Facebook, write in Turning Left. You'll see Richard and my happy faces. And get on it, give us a like, tell us what you want to see on the air, tell us what you want to talk about, and we'll make that happen for you. So, folks, for Sir Richard and I here at the NuzBox headquarters here in beautiful Portland, Oregon, we will see you all again next week's Hasta la Vista.
Stay safe.